Oh, hello, world. Welcome to Comic Book News. I'm your old pal, Dan Shaheen. Hey, tonight, I've got a very special guest. In fact, he's so special, he paid me to be here. Yeah, that's right. I'll take money. You can pay me, and you can be on my show. You can be a Gem Mint 10 sponsor, like ComicHub. You see them up there in the corner over there? ComicHub. ComicHub? What's ComicHub? A lot of people think they know what ComicHub is. They really only know part of the scenario. Right? ComicHub is, people mostly think of it as a way to sell comics, like a comic point of sale tool. If they're a little bit more open-minded, they think about it as an online comic subscription tool. And that's usually where most people's awareness ends. Truth be told, ComicHub is a complete ecosystem meant not just for retailers, but also for publishers and for fans and anybody involved in the creation, production, consumption, or purchase of comics. You know, there's a vector into ComicHub. ComicHub, not Comics Hub. Only amateurs call it Comics Hub. What are you thinking, Dan? It's ComicHub, singular, because there's only one. There's no other cloud-based point-of-sale and subscription system. Just, there isn't one. Believe me, I've looked. I tried to write my own. I couldn't quite get there. But then this guy came along from New Zealand. His name is Stu. Stu's going to be on the show tonight, and he's going to talk about just one piece. We've talked about sort of the point of sale capabilities of ComicHub. Tonight, we're going to concentrate on what it can do for you if you publish comics, if you create them. Yeah, you can have a login to the ComicHub system, and you can upload materials to promote your comics and get them in front of the eyeballs of all the ComicHub users and all of their customers. We're talking about hundreds of retailers, over 100 anyway, and growing, and thousands and thousands of customers, right? And Stu is going to talk about how you can use this system to promote yourself, even from this levels the playing field. This flattens the curve, if you will, to use parlance of the day, in the sense that you don't have to have the huge marketing budget of the big boys to reach the same people and to reach that audience that really cares about your comics, okay? So that's what ComicHub can offer you. What can we offer you here at Comic Book News? Not all that much, frankly. Except talking about comics. We have fun, we love, we enjoy comics, we talk about them. How can you support us? Well, there's a bunch of ways. You can click like if you like this video. You can click subscribe. You can join the channel. You can become a member. All that stuff. We're shifting our focus a little bit more back away a little bit from, say, culture and controversy in the comics world and more towards comics themselves. I'm back into reading comics and graphic novels heavy duty, and I'm going to be doing more frequent content with more reviews. But I'm also a cheapskate, so I need your comics. If you've got a comic that you want to see reviewed On the $1 Million Comics Cam, well, now you've got a place that you can send it. You can send it where? To Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. Man, the box has been jammed. I've been getting all sorts of cool comics. We're going to bring them up on the $1 Million Comics Cam very soon. If not our next episode next week, maybe sometime before then or maybe after. I'm very busy, but never too busy for great comics because I love them. We love them. You love them. That's what Comic Book News is all about. All right. That's enough plugs. Let's get into the rest of the plug. This is an all plugs all day show. So let's bring in Stu Colson, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about ComicHub and its publisher tools. Hey, Stu.
Hey, Dan. Thank you. How are you?
Great. I'm going to switch us. Whoop.
Oh, someone's got new tools, eh? Look at you. Look at you. Well, next week we'll do up and down. We got yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate it. Yeah.
No problem. You're always a guy that I bring in when I want to talk about Comic Shop 2.0, which is really nothing but code name for like what is a comic shop in the 21st century. And I don't think anybody is helping to shape that more than what you're doing over at ComicHub. So thanks for coming on the show and thanks for sponsoring and let's talk a little bit about before we get into anything else. Let's just give us your elevator pitch for ComicHub, if you will.
It's the elevator. It's disseminating data to who needs to see it. That's the key part of it all. And I think, let's look at a couple of things that have happened this week. There's been, DC obviously announcing on a Monday that they're dropping a distributor, and then there was the IDW FOC sort of mess that came out over Last Ronin, which was, something that they should be able to fix. That shouldn't be happening at this stage in the game. But what happened with that is a whole lot of information. Everything got lost in that mix. So if you're a retailer, what do you focus on? How do you share my screen? How do I chuck something up here?
Yeah. Sorry. Right at the bottom, there should be a little button that says share screen. You can click on that.
So is that what are you seeing? Are you seeing my slide?
Not seeing it yet. If you pick share screen and then it'll give you a menu and you pick what you want to share, you should be able to see it.
Okay. Here's my screen. No. Why isn't it doing it, Dan?
That's a good question. Why don't we hold on? You can try and bring that. Oh, okay, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, so this is I love it. Here's something, and this is a lot about how ComicHub started for me anyway. So there we are, nice little happy retailer, in his boomtown comic shop. And you've got our publisher in the blue circle sending out information to us. And then as a retailer, we've got to work out who we're sending that to, whether it's going out by Instagram or Facebook or email, and so how we're going to get hold of our customers. And it feels like it's working, right? If you're a publisher. But what's really happening is you're one of a lot. So as a retailer, you start to get bombarded with all this information. And bombarded is probably the wrong word. Your inbox starts to fill up. And then you've got to work out who to get that information to, right? So some comics are only going to be applicable to some readers. And then this is what was really happening when I started ComicHub was there was just so much information coming from so many points, and I had no natural or logical way to get that information out to who needs to see it. That was the key part. So it's this overload of information and a complete inability to pass it on who needs to see it. And I knew it was just costing me money because there's no way I could do this properly. All right, so I'm trying to stop sharing and coming back to you. So that was the start of it, was that whole trying to blame everybody else for not being able to do my job, and then realizing it was my own fault, that I did not have the tools for it, and that the industry didn't have the tools for it. So we need a way to get it out there. And the start point was a POS with marketing abilities. So it allowed me to then start to say, hey, if you like Batman, you want to see this Batman black and white. And then I can start to drill down even further. And we're doing things now like, Ed Brubaker's got his new hardcover coming out for Christmas, so we just went back through anyone who's bought an Ed Brubaker book, and we took, I think, something like 15 or 20 pre-orders for that from one email. So it took me all of a minute to click it and put it together with all the assets and send it out, and 20 orders for a $25 book. So
I didn't even know, Stu, that book was coming out, and I'm a huge Brubaker fan. So right there, you're just making
exactly. We've got this massive catalog and people leaving it, and now we've got multiple data points coming in with different publishers and distributors. And how do you share that information? And that was really the start of it all. And then from there, we've just grown into everything else. So that the first part of that was bringing in information from Diamond and then sending that around. But as we've started to look at things, we've then got to do that. So we've automated that, and we've developed a pretty cool suite of publisher tools to take that automation even further. And publishers can now, so what I just said before was, I can go and say who's brought Ed Brubaker books and send that marketing out myself. Well, the publishers now can log into their accounts and look at the metadata and say, well, how many people buy Ed Brubaker books? So they don't see the customer numbers, they don't see the customer names, they see the totals. And then they attach 4 or 5 preview pages and they send it out, and that comes down to the shops. The shops decide if they want to partake in the marketing, and then they click it and forward on to their customers, and that goes out to the other parts of the platform that we've got, which is the customer website and the iPhone and Android apps with the preview pages, and then the orders going back to the shops. So it's allowed us to grow our bottom line without having to grow our overheads and costs.
Yes.
And it's something that our clients are saying now is, ComicHub has got them through COVID, and they're leaner and they're more profitable. Some shops, they're ordering less and they're making more money. So you're cutting out the waste of the industry is what we're really doing. And
what I found really interesting in your approach, Stu, was that you sort of flipped it, and it's just really occurring to me now, in the sense that most people, when they think about point of sale, it's about record everything I've sold and look in the past and try to steer into the future by looking in the rearview mirror. But your philosophy is definitely more forward looking. It's about engaging the customer before the sale and locking in the pre-order, because the pre-order sale makes you the most money, guaranteed money, right? And it doesn't have it's usually at a higher rate than a reorder. So the more that you can get on the initial pre-order guaranteed, just the better the chances of that book being profitable at all in your store.
And the difference it allows, ComicHub in the point of sale allows you to target your customers in the way they shop. So the weekend, the Wednesday warriors, or whatever we want to call those, I mean, they're fantastic. We don't want a derogatory term because we love them, right? They keep us going and they're great. And so they're coming in every week, and that's cool. So we've got the marketing for things like Batman. But when I mentioned the new Brubaker book, a good analogy of that was Monstrous Volume 5. So another example of what we did there in our store was we went and clicked on everyone who'd brought Monstrous Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're doing the graphic novel this time. We're not doing the comic. And we sent out to them, hey, Monstrous Volume 5's coming in October. Do you want it? 5 people come back and said, oops, I haven't got 4 yet. Chuck that aside for me. So there was, again, easy money. And then we had, I think it was 27 people ordered Volume 5. And based on our sales, without going to the numbers and looking at my graphs, in the past, I would have ordered 10. And knowing that those graphic novel customers come in 3-4 times a year, so I'd have got my 10 in, we'd have sold 5 or 6 on the first week. And then when we got down to 2 left, I'd have ordered 3 more. And over the year, we would have sold out 25 copies. But by going out and saying to them, hey, this is coming in, we sold 25 copies in 10 days. And all of those people who buy graphic novels come in, they might come in for Monstrous, but 80% of them picked up 1 or 2 other books. So again, this was 2 or 3 minutes of a marketing exercise to drag into our shop, probably $400 or $500 extra over what we would have turned over on one graphic novel.
Yes. And I can't speak enough to what the hand selling effort that would have been required and the amount of reorder The amount of just superfluous labor and time that you could have been spent looking for that next hit, right? And concentrate on making your business stronger instead of just being caught up in the rigmarole of processing reorders and being reactive, being proactive instead of reactive. Was the epiphany that I saw. Like when people talk about ComicHub, they go, man, Stu is really, he's from a marketing back. It's like, it's all about marketing and marketing. And I go, that's what's missing the most from the comic book industry, is that ability to do that marketing effectively to our customer base. It's just, there's too many products and too much. We're a victim of our own success in this industry in that regard. So how do we help publishers cut through the chaff? Like, what can they give through what are they getting out of signing up for ComicHub publisher tools that they're not getting out of putting an ad in previews?
Well, they're helping the retailer directly for a start, and there's other parts to that. Should we try and flick on? Should we see if we can kick up another bit, or if I can take the share screen thing again? Let's see how we're going here. Entire screen share. Am I on?
You are.
Yeah. Okay, so let's. Well, this is actually a presentation I had put together for some publishers, so I'm going to skip a couple of the pages. Whoa.
Okay. I got that up full screen right now.
Okay, let's get past that. So we're based down here in New Zealand. Okay, we'll skip these little bits quickly. We're in Ireland, Canada, US. We've just launched back into Australia as well. Ireland shuts down tonight, so that's a little bit of a concern with COVID. They're down for another 6 weeks. And we're at 120 stores now, so I think that's about 5% of the market. So straight away, as a publisher, that's our reach. We're global and our product is international, so there's no currency concerns or any of that sort of thing. But this is how we deliver the product. So the publisher just pushes their preview pages up to the cloud. The retailer approves, it goes out to our tools, the orders get placed, and it comes back to the retailer, confirmation going to the app. And the key part of this is, regardless of publishers getting involved with us or creators getting involved, ComicHub is a retailer, brick and mortar centric product. So there is no skipping that section. And you know, we've lost revenue because we've had, well, we didn't lose it, we never got it in the first place, but we've had people who want to do web only shops contact us, and we're just like, no. And we've had a couple who, you know, we then found out they were web only and we kicked them off the platform. So
tell me why.
Because if you want to do web only, go build it yourself. This has been an expensive product to develop, and if we just went with web, we would be cannibalizing our own potential market, for one. I think is a big part of it. Another thing that ComicHub Tools is all built around a rewards program in the POS and for the customer side of it, and we have had some clients say, we want to be doing discounting, and I'm like, well, we're not doing that through our platform because we have no intention of being the facilitator of the next DCBS, and I love them as Luna, but I don't think heavy discounting online is good for the industry overall. And if we allowed 2 or 3 retailers to come in, we're essentially launching the next Midtown Comics for nothing. So it's part of it is, I'm a brick and mortar store. They're my people, whatever. Some of them hate me at the moment, but that's all right. But we can live with that. But yeah, I think brick and mortar retail for comics is essential. It's such a critical part of this industry. And I think without brick and mortar, the comic side of comics is on shakier ground. Graphic novels certainly aren't an issue, but I think comics without store interaction is going to struggle. And then that's how we deliver it. So we've got our hub in the middle there, sitting up on the cloud. Your publisher login, so any information that they push then gets consumed by different parts of the system. So it goes down to the POS, or it goes directly out to the apps or customer.comichub or the store's own website, and then also up to our product directory, which we'll get to a bit as well. So that's how we deliver the product, going out to nice clean sites and apps. Let's go through a couple more, and then we can come back and recap all this, Dan.
Yeah, totally.
Those preview pages, customers log in, they get to read that without a problem. So we're reducing the risk for all our retailers. And then those preview pages remain there for life. So Devil's Red Bride was something that I pushed up because Vault sent us the email. I'm now sold out in my shop, but this is looking at, if you went to ComicHub.com now, you would be able to look at those pages. And then you've got that available that's showing a map of all the stores that are carrying this product. So we're aggregating out. So it's another way for publishers and creators to support brick and mortar. You don't have to say, go to Amazon because you know they're going to stock it. You can say, go to ComicHub.com and people can find a shop and support that. You're one click away from then also buying it from those stores, because as much as, I want to talk about the fact that, I'll come back to you, as much as I want to, say brick and mortar, COVID has said, if you don't have an e-commerce presence, you're going to struggle. Yeah. You've made life hard for yourself one way or the other if you think you can continue to grow. Simple as that. The growth is going to be really hard for people without that solution. So as much as we're a POS, every shop gets a full e-commerce website attached to it. Everything aggregates back to ComicHub.com, so publishers and creators can push out to those platforms.
Let's talk about for just a second, if you don't mind, because I've always been one of those guys. I was one of those people when I had my shop. I pre-orders were important to me. I had a lot of standing orders. I built a lot of systems to ensure that I could get people the books they wanted, subscribe to it, I guarantee that sale. But I was also really excited and wanted to attract off-the-shelf sales and wanted more casual sales without necessarily subscription. And I think what COVID has shown is, while those things there's always a balance between your subscription sales and your off-the-shelf sales. I think COVID has proven, at least in this moment in time, people that have an effective way to market and get those guaranteed pre-sales from their customers are going to be in stronger shape financially, not just from the money they get from those orders, but to be able to know if they get X amount of copies that they have sold, they can now take a flyer on a few more copies for the shelf than they might have been able to otherwise. So talk to me a little bit about your philosophy, like we were talking about
about a year ago, it was Ryan Higgins who does that podcast out in San Francisco, and he's got Comics Conspiracy, and he made a post on one of the retailer sites, and it was, if I sell out of issue 1, it's my fault. If I sell out of issue 3, it's the customer's fault. And I mean, for a while I started to adopt that, and now I'm just a total believer in that. And a part of that also, I mean, it's a little bit easier down here because we're back to full open, no masks in New Zealand again. But when we had a recent lockdown, or a semi-lockdown, where we went to masks and minimum numbers of people in the shop, and people were just in the store for less. That was simple as that. People, regardless of, and that's the people, some of those people are, this is all a hoax, whatever, you've still got those. And we were like, well, I don't care, you're wearing a mask, man. There's no choice about that. And they're uncomfortable, they suck, but it's for the greater good. But you want to take it off, and the only way you can take it off is get out of the shop and get in your car. So what we found is people's browsing time dropped considerably. And I'm of the opinion this thing's here for at least another year. So you've got to adjust everything about how you operate your store. And so by having more number ones in the shop over and above what we've got from pre-orders, we found they're an easier grab. So trying to sell an issue 17 off the rack is really hard. And my numbers with our pre-ordering, I mean, we get something like 70 copies of X-Men, 67 are pre-ordered. Even with a number of that, I'm only putting 3 on the shelf, and we still tend to have 1 left after a fortnight.
Wow.
It's all sorted. People know what they want. We've given them complete control over their ordering. They order more. They know what they want, and it's easy. It's so easy.
I found when you take the friction out of the pre-ordering process, the customer is more likely to do it. It just lubricates the entire system, right? Like, it's really hard to get somebody to take that phone book of previews home, look through it, fill it out, coordinate page numbers to item numbers and whatever they have to do and get that thing in on time. And then there's the processing of all those orders. Even if you do get a ton of uptake from your customers, just processing that is going to be a big pain in the butt. And you're going to tend, I would think, just out of inertia, to be more like, I'm just going to, or I know how many to order for my shelf, so I'm going to do that. And you're going to get sloppy. Your sell-through percentages are going to go down. You're going to make less money and have more waste.
Yeah, definitely. I think after issue 2 or 3, if publishers want to put any copies on my shelf, I'll happily tell them how many pre-orders I've got, and if they want to supply extras, go for it. But I'm not paying for them. It's just you can't cut the risk. It's just too risky, especially now with that role. And we could easily do that.
And so, as if things weren't, not to pivot too hard here, Stu, but as if things weren't hard enough right now, we got people who had to make a major change and switch from Diamond for all their DC products.
Yep.
They had to switch over, and at first they were given no choice. If you were on the East Coast, you picked is UCS.
Yep.
And if you were not, then you got Lunar. Okay. Then somewhere along the line, I think it became you had your choice and you could take either one. And then yesterday or the day before, I forget, the news dropped. DC Comics says, no more Lunar. Forget Midtown Comics. We're all in. No more UCS. Midtown Comics. We're all in with DCBS and Lunar. And you are the only guy I have talked to that told me that made their job easier. So tell me why, but tell me what you're saying too.
Well, for one, there was mistakes in the data, which is a problem for a system. It was a little bit of a problem for a system like ours. So there would be the odd mismatched item code or mismatched barcode from the 2 different data sets we were getting, which never helped. But the simple fact is, even our clients who were originally with UCS, at the beginning of the month, there's a task you run in the point of sale that generates all the orders for the customers. And we were always saying to everybody, just use Lunar. Even if you're buying from UCS, use the Lunar catalog. It was just a little bit more complete. It was always available earlier. So there was always, for us, a little bit of chasing down with UCS. And right now, no one has time. But we don't have time for that. If there's an extra task we've got to do, and we have to go and look for it 3 or 4 times, it's kind of, there was no benefit to us at all for that. So there was no upside. So now just having the one supply side for that it's just made our life a little bit easier. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm okay with this. And I was already a Lunar client for my shop. So yeah,
so
I don't want to get into.
But you felt Lunar, just in general, not to throw any stones or anything, but you felt like Lunar was better on the data side.
Yeah, there was some tools that we have from Diamond that Lunar was pretty quick to replicate. That made our client side of things a lot easier. And we'd had requests in for them. We put requests into both distributors at the same time, and they were turned around pretty quickly from Lunar, and they didn't happen at all for UCS. So I don't. It's a tough. Who knows what's going on there? You need a Magic 8 Ball to know the answers, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, we went from a monopoly, right, which it was evil. It's evil. Monopolies are evil. They're bad. They're evil, right? We got to get rid of them. Yeah. We went from that to then we went to a regional monopoly, and now we're back to a North American monopoly from just a new, smaller company. We have less choice. Retailers are forced to spend more money. They don't have choice. So there's now just a monopoly for DC Comics. I really don't understand the thinking.
Well, okay, there's now choice for publishers, right? So the choice has been added to the market, and I'm not a Diamond basher. I got a shop in New Zealand that I've been going for 27, 28 years now, something, and I exist because of Diamond, their service. And some people are going to go, what? I'm like, if they send me something and it's damaged, I tell them and they replace it.
Exactly.
What else do you want, people? That's it. So that said, I don't know how long we've been with Lunar. I've had a damage. I've had one.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing that I've heard about them is that they were the superior shippers and they got their data together. Those two things are a powerful combo for a distributor to be able to do. So I think, I just wish there was competition. I wish Diamond could compete, but I almost feel like, and let me tell me your thoughts on this. If Diamond did get back a contract to not be exclusive, but just to be able, I think it would destroy the DC. I think it would destroy Lunar's distribution situation overnight, because the vast majority of retailers would go back to Diamond. What do you think about that?
I'm hoping that DC allow Diamond to distribute graphic novels, their range. That would be a lot. I'd be a lot happier with that. I don't know, man. I mean, at first, for me, I've got to coordinate 2 sets of ship. Well, I don't. I had to set it up. It's now all done by the companies. It arrives at one drop point in LA and gets flown down to us. So, a little bit of faffing around at the beginning. It was a week's work, but now I'm all cool with it. It's no problem. I would stick with Lunar. I would. Yeah. Definitely, man. I've and that's not saying Diamond does a bad job. It says Lunar does a great job. So I'm really happy with their distribution. And also, it took 8 weeks for Diamond to get us some reorders. And again, I'm not knocking them. I understand completely what's going on in their warehouse. That they got me reorders. Thanks very much. And we've just said to our customers, look, just shut up. All right, these we're wandering around without masks. They're in a warehouse crammed in together. They're getting us the new releases. Be happy. I got to wonder how many shops would be viable if DC had stayed with Diamond, because Diamond clearly struggled for a couple of months to get any product out, right? They did a fantastic job of getting new releases, but they had a lot less and everyone was cutting back their schedules, whereas DC was, we had 1 week, our DC invoice was bigger than our entire Diamond invoice. And that's product I need to sell. And if I was then relying purely on Diamond and, we're all looking at invoices that are a quarter of the size of what we're accustomed to, I'm able to double that because of what I've been getting from DC, and it's kept me going. I don't think, I understand everyone's upset. I understand the problems it's caused, but we are living in a pandemic, man. And there's just too often I look at a comment on a forum and I'm just like, dude, like right now for my customers, yeah, if it's a 7, that's full retail, man. I don't care if it's dented. And I'm saying to them, it's come out of a warehouse where people are struggling to work, and they got it to me. And yes, the top left corner of that's a bit creased, and yes, it's been bent over. It's my last copy. It's full price, and that's how we're running here, guys. You need to deal with it. And there's some people still think we can get 9.8s on everything in this environment. It's unfair.
I mean, there's a real disconnect in the industry. Certain stores that are just seem like such sticklers for that. I mean,
yeah.
It might be because of shipping options that like people don't explore anything outside of just straight up UPS from Olive Branch in the States, where they do have options that would lower their damages and maybe even and maybe lower their shipping costs too. But there you got to put in legwork and you got to talk to people, and maybe you got to make cooperation maybe with a few stores in your area, like people in the Bay Area did back when I was a retailer. And that's tough. That's pretty tough to get retailers to do.
And it's still got to come out of a choke point at Diamond's end. There's still, it's not a warehouse that's surrounded by 25 trucking options for all sorts of different couriers to turn up to, isn't it? They've obviously got to ship it out there in volume. And it's comics, man. We get them, we sell them. Sometimes they're a bit dented. Yet, what's the point of having a 9.8 if you don't have a 7, right? You gotta have the crappier condition to know you've got a good condition product.
Never thought about it. We got a couple of comments we could bring up right now. Let's bring them up. Okay, so the lack of a modern POS inventory system is why so many shops failed. Not that you need it to succeed, but not even thinking about those things is a sign of how people don't run shops like a business. Would ComicHub make sales demographic data available in real time so you can really target the sales in real time like the Facebook, Google ads do? Talk a little bit about your data and what the lag time is.
The data getting pushed back to publishers is live. So within a day, it gets uploaded each night. So they're getting their sell-through information that way. And a lot of where we're heading with our tools has certainly become more website oriented. But it always does come back to that retailer store. And we've got some pretty sharp clients who know more about some of that Facebook and Instagram marketing that are pushing things to me to say, can we get this done? And I'm forwarding it to the team. So yeah, all of that stuff is things we're either planning or are in the pipe already. It's a big system. So, and we're comfortable with our resources, but we're not going to take any more on in this current environment. Our team in India is completely split up. So some of the things that we're looking at in those areas are going to take a little bit longer. But yeah, we're doing all of that sort of thing. But just what you said about there was a comment on a forum where someone was proud of the fact that they were using spreadsheets or pen and paper because it can't get a virus. And I'm like, dude, back it up. And we've had clients who have come from having no point of sale system who've said ComicHub saves them 3 to 4 days a month in work. So that whole thing you talked about, sort of collating a previous thing from your customers and putting it all together, they reckon it's down to 3 or 4 days. And that's, I come back to this. What do you do with 3 or 4 days if you're in a comic shop? Why don't you read some comics? You can probably recommend them a lot easier if you're doing that.
And that's for the shops that actually have their act together as far as distributing, collating, doing, like, the more successful you are at doing that, the harder it is and the more time you're spending with data entry and collation and everything else. And not to mention, none of it's probably prepaid or has a credit card or ability to charge or anything like that, like that you've got through ComicHub, right?
Yeah, and just coming back to that question or the comment, a lot more of what we're doing is focused on your pre-orders, right? Keeping that stuff up. So we haven't gone too far down this path of what he's talking about because you've already sold it. So if you're a small store in wherever, Nebraska, whatever, are you going to gain much more sales if you sold out the 20 in your shop? Do you then look at that other data and say, oh, we'll get another 20 in because the sales of this overall are a bigger thing? How? Because it's the connect. How do you connect with that person? So you've done an event in your shop, or you've done, you know those people. And a lot more of what we focus on around is the community built customers that you've got in your shop. But as I said, we've got 6 developers. All we do is write software for ComicHub. So we're always growing our product, and at the moment the online tools is a big part of it. And as we're pushing that data through to Milton at ICV2, we're pushing data through to NPD BookScan as well. So the NPD BookScan data is going to be pushed back to all our clients very shortly as well. So our stores, we are to see that.
So now you are contributing to BookScan, and in return for that, or as part of the deal that you've brokered with ComicHub, now anybody who uses ComicHub gets that BookScan data to be able to use. That's an awesome resource.
So you're seeing, and again, it's not quite so much. That helps you more to know, Dogman is big. So you would know Dogman was big before, and it may only be a 2-month jump on the fact that you now know it's big, but that can be whatever sales are coming through. And there's also there's brand and toy information coming back with that as well. So it's something that, we've been supplying them data for some time, and we're now about to start moving on, getting it back in. It's just been, this year, DC COVID, it just hasn't been something we've been able to elevate, unfortunately. But we're working now.
So, Stu, can you tell us any success stories, even from your store in particular, about, say, a publisher providing real cool preview materials that you were able to disseminate to your customers? Can you tell me, give me a use case?
Who watches your show? I hope I'm not going to get any trouble on this one. So I got an email from Vault Comics sent an email about Devil's Bride or something. I don't know the title. There you go. I don't even know what it was called. Okay, so I get an email come through, and I occasionally I don't look at a lot of them, but this area I'm looking at other places to get my information. And it had a full preview of their Devil's Bride comic as a PDF, and nothing in it said you couldn't share it. So I was like, I'm going to get cheeky with this. And the publisher tools allow publishers to do their marketing campaigns. So I just went up and I logged into my my super admin account, and I loaded up all 22 pages of Red Bride. Just boom, pushed it out there. And then I went into my marketing tools in my point of sale and pushed out to anyone who sort of brought anything that was action, samurai, anything along those lines, whatever. And it was a title, like I'm buying a lot more number ones at the moment and nothing else beyond that. And it's Volt. I mean, we don't sell as much of their stuff as I'd like. It was a book I probably would have got maybe 4 or 5 copies of. We got 12.
Let me guess. Here's what the retailers out there saying. You mean you gave the entire digital book away for free, no copy protection or nothing? So your sales must have been zero, right? Who would buy a comic that you already sent them the entire digital copy? That doesn't tell me what happened.
We sold 300% more, but the crazy part was we sold them before they arrived again. So this went from a product that I was going to speculate to a degree and throw 5 copies on my counter and hope that someone else, did some marketing somewhere else and people got buzz from it. But we ended up getting 12 pre-orders. I got 15 in. I was preparing some slides for you to show you how part of the flow of the data works, which we'll get to a little bit later. And I wanted to show that they were for sale on my site, and they were gone. So all 15 copies, they're not big numbers, but the key is I didn't do any work. I didn't have to do anything for this. It was just click a couple of buttons after it had been uploaded.
And a pre-order is money in your pocket. It is not a risk you're taking. It is not a gamble. It's the difference between buying a municipal bond and buying an IPO stock that could go anywhere, right? It's like a guaranteed return.
But the other part to this is even, I just realized this without having this conversation. The 12 pre-orders, only 2 were for issue number 1. The other 10 were for ongoing. So it had gone from something where, we have our FOC, if people go, oh, I want to know how many to order of this for the next copy. I already know I'm getting 10 copies of the second issue and the third issue.
Which is amazing, because now you can make that calculation where you might have ordered 0 of the number 3 without any knowledge. Now you can go, man, I've already pre-sold 10. That means I can buy at least 2 or 3, maybe, for the shelf.
I've gone back and ordered issue 1s for the shelf. We grabbed those straight away, and we'll see how they go whether we pick it up. But
And tell me what the publisher saw. So you push this data out to your customers. So what was Vault as a publisher able to learn by using the ComicHub publisher tools? Like, what, if anything, how do those dots get connected?
This is a big thing. Like, everyone's talking about sell-through. So Milton published some work for us on ICV2 talking about this, and everyone sort of went, and there was discussions about that. And sell-through was 2 years ago. It really is irrelevant. It's the pre-sales. That is where this is the most important part of what's going on. And I've got a shop. I'm talking to clients. This is what's really making the difference, because the reality is within 3 weeks, sell-through should be 100% on everything you're bringing in. And if it's still sitting on the shelf after 3 weeks, then you need to cut your orders, because it's just not gonna sell, man. And if it's the first appearance of something that some key app picks up 2 years later and you get some decent money for it on eBay, well, look at the work you've got to do.
Yeah.
It's just
and the way literally hundreds of other titles that just went nowhere. You might as well literally would have got more out of taking that money and burning it to cook your food or something. Like, you would get more direct return from it that way.
Yeah. We had it was a great conversation online with one of our clients yesterday about a free comic book day issue from 2012 that's now sort of taken off, that they had some special covers for this DC comic. And I said, it's listed as promo. That's why it's not showing on your site. If I change it to comic, it's going to be available to everyone, then it's got your cover. And I'm like, why have you got free comic book day issues from 2012? What is the storage cost on that for something to these things, they crack me up, man. They really do. They really do. Anyway, let me bring that down a bit more. So we wanted to talk about some parts of this. I
think it was Devin Dorkin Helpingville comic where the store owner said that, man, these are not just unsold inventory. These are unscratched lottery tickets, dude. These are I got a back room full of stuff that sure it's not even literally worth the paper it's printed on now, but who knows, right? One of them one day could be worth $10 or whatever, 20.
And I mean, I know I'm terrible for that side of it, but 3 months after it hasn't sold on the rack, it's in our half price bin. It's bagged and boarded. It's on our website. You can buy it at any stage, but it's taken up valuable real estate, and I'm not renting a lockup to hold on to this kind of stuff. I mean, and I think some of I mean, I've been to Todd at New Dimensions in Pittsburgh's, his back issue warehouse, and I was in love. I wanted to move in. It was such good fun. That comic geek side of me lives. Yeah, it's definitely there, and it was exciting. But it's a hard thing to do, man. It's a hard, especially if you're a new store or if you don't have those online tools sorted to clear that inventory. Then it's a lot of work to sift through long boxes to find one key item. And for every Hulk 181 someone gets for a bargain, they get a lot of Hulk 347 or whatever for nothing.
Well, you're almost teeing me up here. If you don't mind, Stu, I want to just for a second say, hey, next week on Comic Book News, who have we got? We've got a guy whose specialty is squirreling away stuff. Let's check it out. Oh man, Chuck Rosansky, are you kidding me?
Good stuff.
Chuck has been a guest on the show before, but he was a panelist, and the clips that I took and the things that he said just in his brief panel appearance were some of our most popular ever. I can't wait to have him in here. Yeah. He's going to talk about his back issues. He's going to talk about his history. He's going to talk about all the great humanitarian work that he does too. I don't know if you know Chuck, but dude, he's just spending all of his time helping people, the homeless people of Denver, of his home city. And
awesome.
He's a great guy.
Man. Cool.
We're going to talk about that.
Cool.
Okay.
So let's go to another. What else does a publisher get? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You got another slide for us?
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So they have their sell through. That's the best part, right? So they can go to their catalogs and they can see what's going on with it. I mean, I've said that's not really our future, but it's an important part of what's going on. Understanding, how many stores are stocking things, and then from there, if they were to click that history button, this is the part I like, is where it then can compare it over time. So you can start to track your sales as it's going forward, and then it's also where you can start to track your pre-orders for the next items and things like that. And then, of course, they can start to see their marketing results of any campaigns that they've done. So Image has been having a little bit of a play. So how many people are actually looking at the pages before they start to place the orders? And then, of course, we've got this new tool, because this has been the biggest problem that I don't know where this is. I don't know if this has got anything to do with DC's recent decisions. But if publishers want to generate subscriptions on our platform, then first off, it makes adding titles and product so much easier, because everything just copies forward. So the creators and things automatically get added to titles as you do them. But what I want to find here, I'm gonna, you talk about. I'm gonna check and make sure I've got this going.
Sure.
No, here we are. Sorry, I do have it. Yeah. People will be sitting there going, "This guy's got a tech company." What a freaking
dude! Don't make me. Don't make me bring this.
Oh no! We're good.
Hey, while you're bringing that up, I just wanted to. Yeah, here we go. Here it is.
We got that. Okay, so what this is we can give any single person in the comic industry who has any interest in data access to our supplier website, right? So every time a publisher adds a new title or changes anything on the publisher tools, the information is instantly reflected here. So if they wanted to add images or change their items, we're no longer going to that central repository of Diamond, because there's no longer the central repository. But more importantly, we're not having to follow them to their own websites or follow various Facebook feeds. Anyone can log in, grab the information, they can get it in Excel, JSON, CSV, and import it to their tools. So this is what I talked about the last time I was on the show. So this is now all live, but it allows subscriptions to remain unique, because that was always going to be a problem. We're using the Diamond series codes to a degree, and then we're using everything from a certain number above. So that was something that I really like is happening with us. I'm gonna stop that, but yeah, that was the cool.
Excellent.
So anything added now has a central repository. So ComicHub has gone to that next sort of step of where people can actually get the data in, so you don't have to and then soon as a change happens.
But that includes images, descriptions, previews, or any collateral like marketing material.
Any comic asset can now be fetched from there.
What if I wanted to create, say, a flyer or a 4-up flyer on a PDF that retailers could print out and use or something like that? All those kind of marketing materials too?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be told you're a dinosaur. You should just be sending them out to the ComicHub tools if you want to print it. But, yeah, sure, you can do. I mean, okay. No, banner ads for your website is what you would grab from there. Would probably be the more
sure. Okay. Yeah.
But, that kind of digital assets.
So somebody, say a retailer, would then be able to use this part of the publishing tools if they wanted to create their more campaigns or use those materials in their own website or marketing materials, etc. And this is like a way for publishers to only have to put it in one place and allow many people to access it.
Yeah. And Diamond can have, their login as well to go and grab the data from there. Is the other side to it. So it makes,
got an API.
Yep.
Could I dynamically pull images and put them onto my website if I had an account or anything like that?
I don't think we're quite there, but as I said, this is we put this is version 1, and then people will start saying, "Can I get this? Can I get this? Can I get this?" And we'll sure. So the first stage has been connect all the publisher tools with the supplier tool to allow people to just log in and grab the information that they need. So that's what we've done in that regard. News sites and blogs get access to this. Yeah, definitely.
Where do they go? How does somebody access this? Where do they get in? Where do they get a login? How do they contact?
Contact sales@comichub.com.
Okay.
I think I've got a slide coming up at the end for anyone who want to contact us.
Okay.
So we've just launched this, and now we're going to go and be pushing it. This whole slide that I've been working through is actually a publisher push. So you kind of, when you said, "Hey, do you want to talk about publisher tools?" I was like, actually, I do. But there's some more going out there. Yeah. So we've now built the tool, and now we're going to go and push it out to the publishers, and we've got a whole lot more sort of information about what's happening with our clients, what they're seeing, to say, look, ComicHub customers spend this much, casual customers spend this much. So we're showing the differences in percentages for stores as to what our clients are spending, how regularly they're spending, which is a big, I think it's one of the most important things, is that we've increased shopping frequency with customers. And that's
so can you let me ask you, I had ComicHub. Could I go to my data and go like, I want to find out who shops here the most, and I want to make them one offer, and I want to find out who shops here maybe the least or the least frequently or whatever, and have different targeted campaigns? What kind of abilities, or what are your thoughts around those kind of like
in the POS?
Yeah.
What we have is the ability to let you find because we're built around a rewards program. So instead of discounts, so you can send out a, hey, here's $10 off on your next purchase in the shop. But you can go back in and say, Doctor Who Day is coming up, I think, is it next month, from Titan? Something along those lines. So we'll go back and mine the last 2 years of sales and say, who bought anything that is branded Doctor Who? And then we will add a little image, and we'll send out a little marketing email saying, hey, Doctor Who Day is on this day. And then what we can also do is look at how much they've spent during that time, and we adjust the reward based on that. So we could say, okay, for every $100 spent during the last 2 years, I'm going to give this person a $3 reward up to a maximum of $15. So your people who sort of do come in regularly and spend, in that time, spend a couple of thousand, are still only going to get a $15, drop it on the counter reward. Someone who's come in twice might get $6 reward, and you can work it that way based on how much they spend. And then the other tool we have in that bounce back program is the zero shoppers, or the zero spend.
Yeah.
And they are really, that's a a fun one to use and play around with. So we can go back to Free Comic Book Day last year and say, I want to know everybody who shopped on that particular day who has spent nothing since, so they've never been back. And you target those people with a special kind of discount reward. And they're a fascinating bunch because, you know, there are a group of customers that a lot of stores complain about. Oh, they came in and grabbed the free comics and haven't seen them since. Well, you said you were giving them free comics, man. You know, what did you want? But they're fans. They go to the movies, they go to the conventions, they come to your store when you're having a big event, and they make your big event a big event because you need a crowd to have a big event. So what the 10 or 15% of people who've come to your shop because it's an event, right? And they're never going to come in every Wednesday. But if you send them a reward, what we've found with those people is, you know, I might send out 600 emails to people who haven't been back since that day, and I'll have 10 people turn up over the weekend with that little coupon, which takes you 5 minutes, you know. So what? And let's be honest, none of those 10 were coming in without that coupon. So, right.
It's really cool. Like the fact that you can do those kind of things, not just that it's easy to do them, but that it is easy to track their efficacy, right? It's easy to track, like, how much bang did I get for my buck? Your cost was low to do it, but the fact that you can track your results, is super powerful. I don't think people quite understand how much that it's like a virtuous cycle that can just lead to just more profit, right? And better sales.
But what's fascinating with that, well, not fascinating, what's fantastic is what they buy. So they come into your shop on a day when there's not 100 other people in the store. So the whole thing's open up to them. So everything is a new release.
Yeah.
They're not going to your new release wall. And a big reason for that is because there's people over there. And these people tend to not want to be with the other people. So I've had people come in with these reward coupons, like I had one guy come in, it was a $15 reward coupon. He spent $300 on graphic novels that I think I reordered one. You know, I was like, oh, I need to keep that in the shop. And the rest of it was, oh man, that was, you know, I was embarrassed that I hadn't put it on a sale table. The fact that I then went and got full retail on it because this guy didn't know that it was like a 5-year-old graphic novel that we got 2 in, and because a customer ordered one, and the other one just sat there. So those customers, they just, they buy stuff that you don't want.
Think about that, how like having a piece of something in your inventory for so long that you're not going to reorder it because it just either is not available or just you didn't sell enough to make it worth your time. When you sell that, it's like manna from heaven, right? Because it's like I get to keep that money. I don't have to take half of it and go buy another one. It is purely money in the bank. So awesome.
Those sales have been, when we've done those bounce back, and we do one about every 3 or 4 months. We did one for Valentine's Day. We did one for, we're back from COVID kind of thing. We'll probably do one for our birthdays coming up in about 3 weeks. We'll probably send one out to those people as well. But you can do different ones. So we can do a different.
How do you know the zero spend? But I think you answered that in the sense that it's the Free Comic Book Day customers is probably a huge generation.
Oh, you just pick a date.
Yeah. You
can just pick an arbitrary date and say, right, I want to know everyone who has purchased, you could say who purchased over a 1 year period or a 1 week or a 1 day period, but whatever end date you select, and you then just check a button and say who, but they have not spent any money since this date.
Oh, so you can just get recently, like maybe they were a customer, but in the last 6 months they've fallen off a little bit, and you want to
then you tailor the reward to those people. You might want to give them a little bit more, and so we'll probably send out 3 or 4 different reward coupons for our birthday based on the frequency of the people, and go from that.
That's amazing. Stu, I got to get you in on a call. We'll do a consultation, and I'll talk about how we can use some machine learning to automatically generate these campaigns. That's a couple phases down the line. We got another question here. Dan, why won't you answer my question? This is the only question from this guy, though, so I don't know. My answer is because I am answering, but I don't know what to answer. I don't know. So ask a question. We'd be happy to answer it. And for anybody else out there, if you've got any questions for Stu or about ComicHub, now is a great time. Let us know. Stu, do you have more stuff to show us? More slides that you wanted to share?
Let me see where I was getting to in the end of that tool.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I just want to mention to everybody else out there one more time. I'm going to just pull myself up for a second. Hey, guys. I said it once before, but I'm going to say it again. I got it in my notes. I got to plug this stuff. Go send your books to Comic Book News with Dan Shaheen, P.O. Box 1163, Arcata, California, 95518. And also, please make sure to check out something brand new. And what is that thing? And our website, you got to check out comicbooknews.tv. Oh, wait, I thought I had a banner for it, but I don't. I'll make one right now. Booknews.tv. .tv, you say? What the heck does that mean? Well, check it out. It's an awesome website, and you'll be able to see all of our great stuff. You'll be able to contact me. You'll be able to send stuff to me. It's going to be fantastic. You'll love it. All right, back to Stu.
All right, we got a couple other tools that we do have for our publisher friends, and I like to think of us as a solution company. So this is something when the publishers log into the website, it will show them all the items that are on the upcoming FOC that do not have images attached at this stage, because as you will find on every retailer forum, it's something that really annoys us when we've got to make our final orders and we don't have an image. And this lets the publisher, if they don't already know on Monday, what should have an image for Friday, because that's when the data is going to be loaded. So we provide that little short list for you. I'm sure they already know. But
why would I want to know that? I'm not quite understanding.
Okay, so when retailers do their final order, when we have the final order cutoff, we're essentially placing. This is the last chance for us to adjust our orders, and we're still adjusting orders without an image. I mean, that's insulting. I'm sorry, publishers. If you're not putting images up and we have to guess what it's going to look like, Mr. McFarlane,
definitely not smart.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
That sorts that. And the other part is where we have our last call carousel inside ComicHub, and I'm a strict no image, no show. I mean, you can search for the items, but I'm not presenting it automatically, and it's something that is a little bit of a bone of contention with our clients. They're a little bit frustrated with me for insisting on that, but just know, if you're printing this thing on Tuesday, how can you not know what the cover art is on Friday?
Yeah, and I mean, it makes your website look a little silly when it's like cover, no images like that. It's not going to compel people to click through onto their site. Like, please.
Yeah.
Provide me the cover image at the very least, right? Like,
yeah, we're an image industry. It's like what? It's like going to a wine tasting and they've only got beer. It's like, no, I'm here for the wine. What are you doing, kids? Come on. And the other part we do is we put the events together. So this is inside the customer tools. So Boom Studios currently have a Firefly event that includes Blue Sun Rising. So we just make all those assets linked for people to look at or to find. So if anyone had an order for anything from Firefly, they're automatically going to see all those other parts there. Again, helping with those pre-orders, getting rid of the guessings, which can be hard when it's an event title. There's some titles that you just, it was DC did Justice League and Aquaman sort of 2 or 3 years ago. I think I might have mentioned this before. And our clients knew exactly how many Aquaman they were ordering, whereas a lot of other shops were basically asking DC for returnability on that. So yeah, that's where I'm working with my publisher gig that you managed to hijack. So well done. I think you've done a great job there. But that's obviously a bit slicker when I'm running it live with the shops. But yeah, we're always, how do we make things easier for everyone? How do we cut down the amount of time anyone has to spend on something? Because if you own a comic shop, you are a professional, and your time needs to be $100 an hour, And if you think it's okay to spend time collating orders out of a phone book or adding orders from emails coming through, you're making a mistake. Your time is best spent talking to those people who are going to buy things off you. That customer service is when you are engaging and talking to people is far better than wasting time entering orders from sheets being handed into you.
Totally. And this is time that you're saving on a monthly, weekly, and daily level, right? And it's like that time adds up so quickly that the cost, what's this going to cost a retailer, man? What is ComicHub going to cost me if I want to go all in on the ComicHub system?
It's $150 a month, which is less than a coffee a day. The first 6 months, it's $100, which is, you know, the biggest tool we're developing right now is the back end for our retailers, because the last 4 or 5 clients we've had on board have kind of said, this thing's just too big. It does too much. I don't know where to start. So we're looking at ways to make that easier for clients to get on board, just to start analyzing what they're doing in the shop. So when next time a publisher campaign comes down, if they're not at the point where they're pushing that out, we'll be able to say, hey, here's that little manual you want. This is what I showed you on the tour that made you get this product, because we have a pretty good, success rate. Once people see the full demo of what we've got, it's pretty positive with it. So my success is going to come from happy clients using it completely.
Yes.
And that's what we're now focusing on, is making sure that all of our clients understand it. And we get some clients who spend a month reading every single manual, but that also says it takes a month to read every single manual, because that's how much it does. And that's...
If there's anything that I've heard, feedback that I've heard about ComicHub, the one that's the most interesting to me is like, wow, it does so much I don't even know. Like, usually the problem is with software, it's like it just doesn't do enough. Like, it doesn't have anything that I need. You're almost the other end of the spectrum, where it's like, wow, there's so much I need to. The learning curve is steep to get, like, it takes that amount of time, but then once you get there, you get all that time back. You start getting it back immediately.
And the learning curve is at your pace. Like, that's why we said, look, we'll give you 6 months to work this out. But you don't, we've had some clients who just dive in and rip through everything in a month and come out going, wow, cool. We've got everything going on. And we've got others who are obviously not so fast with going through it. But the one thing I say to them is, every single thing inside the ComicHub point of sale is a request from someone who owns or runs a comic shop to make their life easier or the interaction with a customer superior. So if I say that, look, every Thursday you spend a quarter of an hour and look at 2 manuals, because there are things in those 2 manuals that are going to save you time, and that is going to be a good investment on that quarter of an hour. And, plenty of them do. Some don't.
What do you offer? Do you offer additional training packages or anything like that, Stu? Like, what do you do? Like, if someone's got an operation, they want to get all their employees trained or something like that. What are you offering beyond manuals, if anything?
We've got a great retailer support group. I mean, some of our, there are some retailers out there who think we're a cult because of the way some of our clients are like, just get ComicHub. And that's because they're saying to them, look, man, I was hesitant to begin with as well. Ryan Higgins, who is now our greatest proponent, hated it for the first 3 months he had it. He'd switched from Moby, couldn't get it. He couldn't stand it. And then he kind of went, hang on, this makes some sense. This helps. And now he's the guy on every forum going, just get ComicHub, because he's bothered to learn all of it. And that's...
I've known Ryan many, many years, and he's a sharp guy. He's got a good operation. He's always been an early embracer of digital tools, and he's one of those guys who's been not as reticent, probably because he's younger, but just not been afraid of the boogeyman of digital sales and everything else that so many retailers spent too long worrying about the wrong things, in my opinion, and got behind the curve on embracing technology still.
Yeah.
I think
ComicHub,
I think ComicHub is a quantum leap forward for most shops, because for most shops it's like they don't even have a point of sale. That's all they're looking for, and they come to ComicHub and they get this thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, point of sale is one piece of this gigantic thing. And as they, you only get out of it what you put into it, right? You've got to put some time into learning tools. A complicated, powerful tool takes a learning curve, but then it gets paid off so quickly. Your time gets returned to you when you invest your time into learning your tools. So
it's a time saver, a money maker, and it just makes running a shop easier.
Okay, well, IO Fuse says, well said, Stu, it's more than 20 years into the internet age. The fact that the comics industry, especially Diamond, never made the investments your product has is very sad. I think Diamond tried, and I think they realized it's really hard to make software. It's hard enough to be a comics distributor, but man, making software is one of the most complicated things that humans do, right? Yeah. So Stu, talk about the investment you've put into Comic Hub. We got to get out of here pretty soon, but let's tell me, like, one, the investment that you put in and what your commitment into the future. Like, how is Comic Hub going to be fly by night and is going to be gone in 2020?
Mate, I mean, we're at 120 stores. We've got, media supply contracts with ICV2 and NPD BookScan. We've got, publishers playing around with what we're doing, taking they've gone from just, what is this, to now diving into the tools and having a proper look. We're in Ireland, Canada, US, Australia, and New Zealand now. We're growing. We entrenched a little bit, whatever your political looks are. That we had a different experience with COVID down here in New Zealand, and when I saw, we're going to reopen for Easter, I looked at it and went, you guys are going to have some problems if you do that, and those problems might drag on for a while. So we focused on our existing client base and getting the tools that they wanted. So our growth over the last sort of 4 months of COVID has been good. I've been really happy with it, but I have not actively gone out looking for clients because I wanted to get our, some of those things when people are saying it's too big, I wanted to make sure all of that was a lot easier. So we're now in a position to start we could take 30 clients in a week now, whereas 6 months ago, if we took 30 clients, it would have been bad for our brand. It would have been a problem. So we're fine tuning all that side of it to do exactly what he's asked. Are we fly by night? No. My plan has been a little bit turtle. There's certainly a lot less hair in me when I'm business planning. I'm very cautious and take my time, but I'm really happy with where we're at right now. And I know that, people who get it and learn it, use it, love it. So, and it works for everyone. Yeah.
Okay. Great, Steve. Thank you very much, man. Thank you. You got any more stuff to say about publisher tools, about Comic Hub in general?
We'll be reaching out to publishers over the next week. As I said, I've been putting this thing together, and I've met so many of them at various stages. I have been completely focused on the retailer tools. I mean, I don't know if I was actually supposed to move to India in March before the world shut down. We sold everything and we were moving over there. So, some of these things that we wanted to do earlier were just too hard. So we're now pivoting back to a lot more of this publisher side of things, because we've also got the numbers to say to them, look, we've got X thousand customers using our tools. We've got this number of retailers. We're 5% of the direct market. It's time to start, I can get you good results for very little effort. And that's what our goal has always been when we start to talk to the medium and bigger publishers. Yeah.
When I think about Comic Hub, about it as a force multiplier, right? Take your limited resources and get as much as you can out of your time, which is ultimately limited resource, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Stu. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for being a supporter of this show from early on. And you did pay to bring this on, but I shouldn't say this, but I would be bringing you on and just talking like this with you anytime because you got great insights into the industry. I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you, Dan. It was good to be here, man. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll have you back soon, and we'll talk about another aspect of Comic Hub, hopefully probably next month sometime.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks very much, Stu.
Bye.
See ya. Hey, everybody. IO Fuse says, thanks, Dan and Stu. Thank you. Thank you, folks, for listening out there. Thank you for supporting this channel. We got 5 people watching. We're up to 5, 10 different people. You know how hard it is to get people to watch a show about comic retailing software? It's not easy, folks. We do our best here, but we know that the people that watch the show are not your typical YouTube comic book fans, right? You guys are people, a lot of you people who own stores or publish comics or are involved in the industry somehow. So anybody like that has a reason to be interested in ComicHub. And so I suggest that you check it out and evaluate it for yourself. Check out the ComicHub website. It's really nice. You can get in contact with Stu. He'd be happy to talk to you. You can get set up. You can get a demo maybe and see if it's right for you. I mean, you could pick that, or you could pick the other cloud-based point-of-sale marketing full all-in-one solution out there. Oh, wait, there is no other all-in-one solution. So you could go with ComicHub, or you could go with an a la carte approach and pull together different systems, some of which might even be sponsors on this show as well. You've got choices in this industry, and that's the point. That's what's good. We want to get away from one size fits all and into a model where everybody is trying different things and different tools to get some best practices and figure out what the best of breed is for a comic shop 2.0. So thank you for supporting this channel and watching. We've got some closing credits here that the people who support this show, you'll see some of their names on there. You can see your name on there if you click that little join button and look at the multi-levels of membership that you can participate in here at Comic Book News. So we're going to play the closing credits, but don't forget, they're very short, but at the end, there might be a little closing cameo. And maybe I've played today's cameo before, but it's so good. I know that you're going to enjoy it. So stick around, come back. Our next show, we're going to see who Chuck Rosansky. Oh my gosh. When is that show going to be? A week from tonight is when it's scheduled, but inevitably, as you know, we're going to see you whenever that is, it's going to be next time. See you then.
I'm a geezer, Bodge Job the Builder, ain't none better. So cool gangster, I'll put trees in your cellar. I a napper popping bottles. What's good, fella? You play the decoy, I'll take food from the cellar. Top lad, oi, 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 oi. Oi, girl, what's your ploy? That man's your boy, I'll slap, man way too coy. 3 lines, real McCoy. Your EDL, real English boy, St. George's flag, Doc Martens boy. Call her slag, but don't mean it, boy. Don't ask, don't get. How you get? Nice things. Life moves fast, roundabouts and swings. Swings and roundabouts, you're round, my kid. Grass ain't always greener where the other side lives. Nothing great about Britain. TM biscuits. Mashed jellied eels and a couple little trinkets. East End, you Phil Mitchell gets stabbed with a Phillips. Hand on my heart, I swear I'm proud to be British.